Hello, everyone. My screen cracked a little bit, so that's where the little black line is coming from. But hello, I hope you guys are having a fabulous Friday. I am coming to you fresh from the kitchen. Alex is walking around doing things. If you see him, you can say hi. We are getting ready to go to Yoga for First Responders instructor school training in Mesa, Arizona, right outside Phoenix, tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. So we are getting the house ready to be gone for 10 days. Little man is going to be with friends and family. So, but since today we're talking about nutrition labels and ingredients, it made more sense to me to be in the kitchen because I'm going to be talking about like food items, and I wanted to be able to just grab them and talk about them with you guys. So I got tortillas. So that's what we're doing. So today, like I said, we are talking about nutrition labels, and we are talking about ingredients lists on different types of packaged food. This also goes for supplements as well. That tea is delicious. So the reason I wanted to do this live with you guys today is I just finished my nutrition certification. So I'm a certified nutrition coach, and I learned so much good information from this certification. And while as a personal trainer, they give you pretty good deep dive into nutrition in terms of like you can do, macros and calories. This was, the deep dive for personal training was, I'll say, like talking about diving. So maybe like 5 feet deep, where this was like I felt like I went 80 feet deep. Like I learned and had to absorb the biology of everything, understanding what happens from the moment you put like a piece of fat in your mouth, all of the biological things that happen and chemical reactions in the body until it comes out the other side, for carbs, for protein, supplements, storing food, the do's and don'ts of storing food, how food works in different parts of the body, barriers to weight loss, plateaus, so much good information. But one thing that I found really fascinating that I wanted to share with you guys is what we think is good information on food labels and what actually is good information on food labels. And what I mean by this is we see a lot nowadays where we see the word natural on everything. We see, no additives. We see low sugar, low sodium, all of these different non-GMO, organic, certified organic, 100% organic, grain-free, pasture-raised, like all of these different words. And I had like 4 chapters about these words and what they actually mean and which ones are regulated words and which ones aren't regulated words and can just be thrown on a package. And I can't go over all of them within a 15-minute live with you guys today. So we're going to go over the basis of it, but I do plan on doing more grocery store adventure lives with you guys, maybe like once a month, because I want to teach you guys this information, because I think this information, it's not taught in health class, and it's not taught when you're in high school or college. Like no one teaches any of this information, and it's pretty much just like straightforward. Like once you know it, you can use it information, and I think the public should know it. So I'm going to share it with you guys. So today we're going to go over nutrition labels specifically. We're going to go over understanding serving size versus portion size. We're going to go over how to set nutritional goals for yourself based on the nutrition label, decoding the ingredients list, and then also understanding just a few food label terms. I will go into more food label terms on the next series that I do for this grocery store adventures is what I'm calling it. And another time we're going to get into produce and meat and fish and dairy and all of that other stuff. But today we're just going to start with reading the back of some food, because I think that's really important for people. So let's dive into it. So first and foremost, we're going to understand the terrain of a nutrition label. So starting with the top. So I have I'm going to close this before I pick it up and throw pumpkin seeds everywhere. I don't know if anyone else has like a significant other or partner where like they like leave cabinets open or like don't put the lid on things all the way, things like that. Alex has that habit. So we're gonna make sure this pumpkin seed thing is closed. Okay, so this one's nice and big for you guys to see. So we got nutrition label and ingredients list is just down here because it's just raw pumpkin seeds, but I got other ones to show you guys more extensive ingredients lists. So nutrition label, nice big and bold here. One of the things I want to talk about first is the serving size, which is right here. It says amount per serving. Now it says serving size, and you guys don't need to see this. I'm just kind of showing you where it is so that when you look at it on your nutrition labels, you can see what you're looking at. So serving size is about 53 seeds. Servings per container is approximately 60 servings. So that means they're saying a serving size is 53 seeds and they have about 60 times that in here. Now, what's important to note, and what I don't think anyone really pays attention to, is because everyone says, oh, follow the serving sizes, following the serving sizes. Serving sizes are only used to do the math on what is in a serving size. So they need to create a serving so that they can tell you, okay, in that serving, there is 8 grams of fat, 3 milligrams of sodium, 2 grams of carbohydrates, 4 grams of protein. So the serving size is only there as a referenced amount for the food or dietary supplement for which the nutrition label is referencing. That is the only point to a serving size because nutrition is individualized. So that's why I said, what's the difference between a serving size and a portion size? So a serving size is just to give you a ratio of, in this many amounts, there's this much of each of these ingredients. A portion size is how much you need based on your protein, fat, carbs, vitamins, minerals, and fiber intake. So a portion is not necessarily going to be a serving. So say, for instance, we'll just keep this, I'll use the edamame I have because it's an easier example because it's a quarter cup is a serving. A quarter cup is a serving so that I can see how much fat, carbs, protein are in it. But for my diet, I typically have a half a cup for my portion because that's how I hit my carbs, my fat, my macros, my calories, my fiber, etc. So that's why it's important to note that while people say, oh, follow the serving size may not fit what your dietary goals are. What you need is to figure out what your portion size is going to be based on the ingredients that's on the back. So if it says 53 seeds is 4 grams of protein, but you know you need 8 grams of protein, then maybe you need to have 2 servings of what they have in here, or 106 seeds. I don't know if you're going to measure every single seed out. It's also 15 grams. So that's the difference between a serving and a portion. I think that's like, if you don't pay attention to the rest of the video, at least absorb that, because that is so important, because people always say, well, I follow the serving size, but that doesn't necessarily apply to what your portion should be. As well with that, this also applies to supplements, because people think, oh, I need to have the 2 scoops to my protein powder. Well, maybe you only need, it's 25 grams of protein, but maybe you only need 12 grams of protein to hit your protein for the day. Okay, well that means that you're going to have half a scoop instead of a whole scoop, and vice versa. So that's the difference between serving size and portion. From there, just going over the general context of the nutrition label, they recently updated them in 2020. So some of them look different than the new ones, but they're supposed to all be updated into this new version. And all of them are going to tell you the total fat, saturated fat, trans fat, cholesterol, sodium, total carbs, dietary fibers, total sugar, added sugar, protein, vitamin D, calcium, iron, and potassium. And this will be listed on the side, on this side. Now these percentages are, 1, based on their serving size, but also 2, when you see that little fine print at the bottom under the nutrition label, that states that it's based off of a 2,000 calorie diet. So 1, they're saying that the serving size is 53 seeds, or 15 grams, and 2, that it's based off of a 2,000 calorie diet. So if you see, oh, this is 10% of my magnesium today, because this one has magnesium on it. But say you're eating 1,000, well, we wouldn't want to eat 1,000 calories a day, but just for logistics, 1,000 calories a day. Then that wouldn't be 10% of your magnesium for the day. That would be 20% of your magnesium for the day. So there's all of these different things that you should take into consideration when you're reading a nutrition label, because it's not just what is on here applies to you. This is to help you do the math of how much you need for yourself. So like I said, the percentages for the daily value, which are on the right side, are based off of a 2,000 calorie diet. If you're eating more than 2,000 calories, the percentage value is going to go down. If you're eating less than 2,000 calories, the percentage of daily value is going to go up. So that's kind of just the understanding of the structure of the nutrition label. From there, I want to go into a rule that I learned that I thought was really, really cool for kind of just making healthy habit changes, because a lot of the clients that we work with are especially our elite achievers in the Elite Achiever Nexus app, where we do coaching and nutrition coaching and all of these fun things, is a lot of them get overwhelmed with like macro tracking each food item, word for word, I was going to say, every single detail, every single condiment. That can get overwhelming for a lot of people. So what we do is a strategy called like intuitive coaching, which is really more so just talking about making healthy habits and having someone to hold you accountable to applying them. So this rule that I learned is perfect for that scenario where you're like, I want to change my habits. You maybe have a handful more of vegetables than I used to, or have an extra piece of fruit more a day, or drink 2 extra glasses of water. So it's called the 5 and 20 rule. And essentially what it says is, so it's based off of these dietary values on the right side that I was pointing out before. And it says for things like sodium, trans fat, added sugar, and saturated fat, you want to get under 5% per the daily value percentage. So when you look at it, you want it to be 5% of your daily value. Now, for things that we like fiber, vitamins, and minerals, since they're our allies and we need more of them in our diet, then you want to get those over 20%. So it's called the 5 and 20 rule. When you're looking at stuff, the bad stuff, you want under 5. The good stuff, you want over 20. So for example, trans fat here, there's no trans fat in pumpkin seeds. Well, these are raw pumpkin seeds. They're not like salted or anything like that. So that's good. Sodium's also at 0% because they're not salted. Now dietary fiber, they're at 2%, but you wouldn't eat like a whole meal of pumpkin seeds, so I can understand why that's a little bit low. But these are the different things that you're looking for. Let me switch to I got an RX bar. Yeah, so saturated fat, 5%, awesome. Added sugar, 0. Dietary fiber, 21, see, over 20. So that's how you figure out, is this something I should be eating, or is this something that I should put down and maybe pick something up? 5 and 20 rule. So that was something I wanted to teach you guys as well. And then from there, we're gonna go into decoding the ingredients list. So raw pumpkin seeds aren't really a good one for this because the only ingredient is the raw pumpkin seeds. So I brought something over that Alex eats, only thing I really eat that's processed is RX bars. Everything else I typically make from scratch. But he eats these tuna packets, or salmon. This one's tuna. Sometimes he does the salmon ones too. So this one has not a bunch of ingredients, but a decent amount. You see it starts right there where the bold word is and goes down. So things to remember for ingredient lists. So I like to think of them as like an ancient scroll. They're packed of cues and hidden information, hidden dangers that you want to pay attention for. But like I said, no one really teaches this in health class. No one really teaches this to anyone. So you don't know how beneficial an ingredients list is until you actually know what you're looking at. So first and foremost, what a lot of people actually don't know is the ingredients list is in order from what item is greatest in quantity in the product you're eating to lowest in quantity for what you're eating. So for example, for the sweet and spicy tuna packet, the first ingredient is light tuna. Well, that's really good because if the first ingredient was water, which is the second ingredient in here, that would mean this is more water than tuna. But for example, at the end, it's vegetable broth, corn syrup, and paprika. So that means that out of all of the ingredients, the least amount is the vegetable broth, corn syrup, and paprika. So when you read it, you're reading it from the biggest quantity ingredient to the smallest quantity ingredient. That's how they have to list it in that order. From there, some things that I want you guys to keep an eye out for. One thing that I found really fascinating is that while the United States makes sure that they have to put additives on the ingredients list, there's no way of signifying what is an additive versus what is, maybe a healthy vitamin or a mineral or something of that nature. So it's hard to decode sometimes. Is this something that's good for my body? Is this something that's bad for my body? Which a quick Google search nowadays, that makes it really easy. But one thing I thought that was really cool was Europe, which I know we're not in Europe, so this doesn't really apply to us, but it's a fun fact. Instead of putting the additive name, they have additive codes. So it's like E1249. So although you can't see the name there, you're not really concerned about the name of what specific additive. You're concerned that there is an additive. So I thought that was really cool that they make it so that you can tell that there's an additive in the food. But that's what we're going to get into now, is talking about additives. So some things to keep an eye out for when you're reading the ingredients list is additives, which are used for preservatives, coloring, and sometimes flavor enhancers. So I'm going to give you guys just kind of like my top 9 of things that I would pay attention for when I'm reading the ingredients list to decide if I want to order something or buy something, or if maybe I want to look at a different brand that maybe has a different ingredients list. First and foremost is MSG, or monosodium glutamate, as well as yeast extract. Both of them are used to increase the savory flavor when they are put in foods. As well, we have artificial food coloring. These are easy to find nowadays because it'll say like blue 1 or red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6. Those types of numbers we want to stay away from as well. Then we have sodium nitrate, which gives meat its reddish color. So a lot of people kind of steer away from the all-natural meats because they're not as red, but they're not as red because they don't have additives to make them red in them. From there, there's also gums that are used as thickening agents. So guar gum's one, xanthan gum is also another one. Then there's artificial sweeteners. Now, there's also natural sweeteners that are also 0 calorie nowadays, that if you want information about them, send me a message and I can give you information. But there are artificial sweeteners like sucralose, aspartame, and saccharin that are all put into especially drinks nowadays. From there, there's also sodium benzenate. That's a preservative that they use for carbonation and acidic foods. There's also processed oils such as canola oil, soy oil, sunflower, palm, vegetable, and corn. We want olive oil. If you can pick one, extra virgin olive oil. That's like your go-to, organic. And then from there, sugar alcohols. So that's anything that ends with an etol, like ITOL. If it ends with that, that means it's a sugar alcohol. And they are typically used for sugar-free products. So they make a sugar alcohol to put it into the product to make it still sweet, even though it doesn't technically have sugar in it. Now, when it comes to why we don't want these additives in our food, that would take a whole other presentation, and I think I'll probably just have a whole presentation on additives one day for you guys. But I kind of just wanted to give you guys like a foundation of understanding what's on the back of your food when you're reading it. From there, we're going to wrap it up with going over some of the words that I said are put on the front of labels that can be misleading, and some that are actually important to pay attention to. So like I said, a lot of times you'll see like all natural, or one of my favorites is like people put organic in their food name. So like Avalon Organics. Just because it has organics in its name doesn't mean it has to be organic. So that's the first thing that I want to talk about is organic food. Now, while certified organic food, it actually has health benefits to eating, the word organic on a product doesn't necessarily mean it's organic unless it's actually like USDA marked. And what I mean by that is like there's all these little circles on the back of a food label. Those are the ones you're looking for, depending on what type of label you're looking for. So like this one is non-GMO, vegan, kosher, gluten-free, all those types of things. So you're looking for one of those circle certifications and not just the word organic on the front of it. Now, for organic, in terms of actually certified organic, meaning it has the stamp on it, there's actually 3 levels of organic, which I learned in my nutrition course. And the first one is 100% organic. So something that is certified 100% organic has 100% organic ingredients, not including water and salt. From there, there's organic, so just certified organic. These products contain at least 95% organic ingredients, not including water and salt. And then from there, there's certified made with organic ingredients. And that one contains at least 70% organic ingredients. Now this is where it can get misleading, because although this is certified organic and it says made with organic ingredients, to me that sounds like, oh, it's made with organic ingredients. That means it's all the ingredients in here are organic because it's made with organic ingredients. But that's not what it means. Made with organic ingredients means it's made with some organic ingredients. So this is why it's important to understand these things so that you can navigate them if they're important to you. Now, some things that I wanted to share was, when it comes to organic crops, there have been studies that show, because people go back and forth on whether organic matters or not, that 17% more antioxidants are found in food that's organic. Now, the reason that's important is because antioxidants, I mean, I'm not going to go into the science behind them, but they fight cancer. It's like one of the biggest ones. They fight free radicals. They're what you need when you drink a Gatorade or have potassium, sodium, have something salty, things like that. Those are the antioxidants. So organic crops have 17 more organic antioxidants levels. So just something to keep in mind when it comes to, do I buy organic? Do I not buy organic? Now, wrapping it up with some other words that I'm going to talk to you guys about. First one is cage-free. So talking about poultry products. So chickens have access to roam outside the cage, but there's no guarantee that they did. They have to have access to roaming outside the cage. Another one is grass-fed. This refers to animals that have been raised in an ecologically appropriate way. They are allowed to forage and graze in pasture life and fed grass versus grain their entire life. Now, something that I found interesting was that grass-fed is actually, if you had to choose between like grass-fed meat and organic meat, you're going to want to choose the grass-fed, because organic has the stipulation that at last 120 days, the meat can actually, or the cattle at the time, can graze on grain because they're going through processing of their life ending. So because they go inside, they're allowed to use grain as long as it's organic grain. But that increases the fatty acids in their body, increases their fat content versus keeping them lean. So we want to go toward grass-fed versus organic. Again, organic's better than not organic and not grass-fed, but grass-fed's the winner. Oh, Molly's barking. From there, wrapping it up, we have natural. There's no true definition or certification of what natural actually means. For meat, for poultry, for these products, natural is just a word that people like to put on things that actually means nothing. There's no regulation to the word natural. And then the last two, non-GMO. This means that the food does not contain any genetically modified organisms, meaning that it is organically natural to how it was either birthed, if it's food, like meat, or grown, if it's a crop. And lastly, pasture-raised. This means that the animal has spent time on a pasture or outdoors for a period of time. There's no clear indication on how much that time is, but there is a regulation that it has to happen. And for pasture-raised and grass-fed, there are more omega-3s, which are important for our body, our heart, our joints, our health, including notable increase in DHA, which is a really important healthy fatty acid. So that wraps up my crash course on reading nutrition labels and understanding the products and what's on them and what's important and what's a bunch of bull. I want you guys to remember that knowledge is power. Use this wisdom to conquer the grocery aisles, to conquer your grocery adventure, and make the choices that you're making when you go eat fuel your epic journey and your story and your adventure and the quest you're on. Because, like I said, knowledge is power, and it's so freeing to be able to navigate through these things and really trust what you know versus trusting what's on here and not actually knowing the truth. So if you found this session super, super helpful and want to dive deeper into intuitive coaching and nutrition coaching, we do have the Elite Achievers Nexus app for resources, including nutrition guides, recipes, personalized coaching, educational videos like this, but longer in the app. And so I could put the link in the comments for you guys if you want to check that out. And that is all I have for you guys today. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to finish working. We're going to get everything ready to go to Yoga for First Responders in Arizona. And then I'm going to go learn how to drive the RV by myself later today. So I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday. And that's all I got. See you later.